Hello guys, welcome to Ch12. I'm Grandmaster Sopika Guremishvili. Today our topic will be clearance, more precisely file clearance. And I'm very happy to start with this example because I think that this is the model example of what clearance means. The position is materially equal, and it is very difficult to imagine that something would happen in this position to white's king. The move that was played in the game is really brilliant and shows us all ideas of clearance: file clearance, rank clearance, diagonal clearance. So bishop b5. Why bishop b5? What is the point of bishop b5? Maybe you don't understand what happens on AB. It's not yet clear, of course. AB was played in the game, and I don't want to hurry up to analyze other moves because there are the same ideas, so let's follow the game. A takes b5 and knight hg3. There is a double attack and white is forced to take, otherwise he loses the queen. hg3, knight g3, again double attack, knight g3 and hg3. There is a check and only move is king g1. Now if we look at the position, we will understand why bishop b5 and knight knight g3 was sacrificed. There is mating net around white king, and how to imagine the mate? Well, imagine the queen is on h2, like this, and there's a mate. So it gives black the idea to clearance the rank and mate white king. Rook h1, king h1 is pretty forced, rook h8, king g1, and now if black plays rook h1, king h1, then queen cannot go to h8. So what black needs is again to clear the back rank and play bishop c5. B takes c5, rook h1, king h1, queen h8, king g1, and queen h2 mate. Beautiful indeed. Let's get going to the move on bishop b5. What if white did not take the bishop, and if he played queen f3, he just loses the exchange after bishop f3. And if bishop d3 was played, then the same ideas with knight g3, knight g3, knight g3, h takes g3, h takes g3 and king g1. So the position is not very much changed, it's just the bishop on d3 and there is still a piece on b5. There are the same ideas with rook h1, king h1, rook h8, king g1, bishop c5, knight c5, and again mate in 2 with queen h2. So I hope you enjoyed this example very much, and let's move on to the game Lacko-Svidler. Very complicated position, but here Lacko missed the opportunity to win the game. It is true that Lacko missed the opportunity, but I hope you won't miss it. Do you see the file clearance? Hopefully you did. So the move here is rook g6. A very nice move because if we imagine that the rook was not on f6, then queen would take directly on f7 and mate black's queen. King. So after rook g6, every move loses and every move leads to mate. After king h8, simple queen f6 is mate, and if black takes, f takes g6, queen f7, king h8 and queen h7 mate. The same happens if he takes with h pawn, queen f7, king h8 and queen h7, and again the same happens if rook takes g6, queen f7, king h8 and queen h7 mate. So this was very pity that Laka missed the opportunity, and instead of rook g6, rook f2 was played in the game, which actually did not lead to a win. So we have here another very interesting position, and a very nice and simple example of clearance. The position is materially equal again, and it seems that white has better chances in the game, just because he has the permanent e5 square, and the rooks are already on open and half open files. So white's pieces are standing much better than black's pieces. But of course this type of advantages is not enough for a win. But the motive of clearance here is very simple and nice. If we imagine that there was no piece on e5, then we would see the idea how to actually win the game. So if there was nothing on e5, then we would see that the pawn on e6 would be pinned and the rook on f5 would have problems. That's why in the game it was played knight g6. Very simple move. Probably you think that nothing changes after queen f7 because we lost all these ideas to pin the e6 pawn. But after knight e7, black is forced to take on e7, because if king h8, simple knight f5 wins the exchange. So queen e7, and now we have the same position without knight on e5, which gives us opportunity to take the rook on f5, e takes f5, rook takes e7, and just white won the exchange and has winning position. So I think you had a lot of fun to see this example, because it's really nice and simple example of clearance. And let's move on to our final example about file clearance, and we have the game of pitch against pawn. So we see that white has an extra pawn, but the pieces are a little bit distracted on the queen side. So the king on g2 is pretty vulnerable. The knight on a4 is pretty distracted, but on the other hand it's attacking the c5 pawn, so white did not feel any danger, and it was black's move here, and it was played g5. So what is the idea of g5? The rook on f4 is really good protecting the king, and after g5 he has to move somewhere else. So rook g4, logical move, because if rook stays on f file and goes, for example, rook f1, after the same idea which was played in the game, knight e3, rook e3, and rook f1, white either loses an exchange or has to sacrifice the queen, which is not so good for white as well. Oh, sorry. So rook g4 was played in the game, and now a clearance move. Knight e3. White has to take this knight, and now we see that the f file is completely clear. So after rook e3, rook f2, king g1, there is no rook f1 because the queen is on c4 and protects the f1 square, and this is very good for white because he has two rooks and a knight into a queen. So after king g1, another piece which was not actually in the play comes into play with queen f6. Very strong move. There are several ideas with rook f1, queen a1, mate, so white is not able to defend all those threats. And if, for example, logical rook you want to protect back rank, then again we see a very nice, this time square clearance, king g2, rook g2, king g2, if king g1, king h1, then after rook h2, king h2, queen f4, there is a mate after queen e1, king h2 and rook f2. And if white takes rook g2, king g2, rook queen f4, queen f2, sorry, and again the same ideas, king h1, queen e1, king h2 and rook f2 mate. I hope you enjoyed the examples. Stay tuned for diagonal clearance. See you soon!